Seattle is a very special place. You know, you think about it as this place where musical icons like Ray Charles and Quincy Jones meeting, and Jimi Hendrix. However, classical music, it's not a place where Black people have been thriving, especially in Seattle. And so one of the reasons why Seattle is so special is that for this particular project, is we really wanted to bring some life into the classical music space, as far as, you know, bringing and encouraging Sassy, you know, who's a composer, who's writing some really interesting music, and I think it would be wonderful to actually have her style as a part of, you know, the musical idiom of classical musical space.
Seattle is such a big part of my creative identity. Someone deemed my music hologram funk, and I just owned it. And so I've been rocking with that. Psychedelic souls, because I like to take you on a trip that will hopefully free and enhance your spirit. I couldn't necessarily fit my music into one genre, so I decided to expand upon it. And I think most people who even identify as hip hop or R&B or, you know, rock and everything like that feel like they have multiple places and multiple genres. It's not just one thing that they live in.
Part of what we're trying to accomplish with the Cartography project is an identification of composers and librettists that are obviously extraordinarily talented in terms of musical spectrum and musical reach, but also folks who are unafraid of the possibilities of embedding that musical language and that creative language inside of historically vulnerable communities, historically marginalized communities who have multiple literacies. And SassyBlack has that.
You know, because the capitalism is constructed vertically, there is a direct ratio to who and what we ascribe dignity to. Who receives it?
There is a very interesting challenge, I think, both for she as an artist and for the National Symphony Orchestra as an institution, to consider future classic, to consider that these futuristic sounds, which are very well trafficked, I think, in Sassy's kind of radius of manufacture and radius of output, can also live within the conventions of classical music. In her body, as a person that is of the people, that has these literacies, that can talk to folks, you know, about a myriad of subjects, but who also traffics in these future sounds, she presents not only a challenge, but really an opportunity to explore the intersection of all these things, to take classical music in a uniquely American direction that is actually kind of like comprised of the DNA of futuristic sounds, and making this melding to expand what's possible with the orchestra, and also for this artist to expand the radius of her own sonic output.